70 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It's a beautiful Wednesday in Nashville. It's a little cool, but you know what? It's also nearing December. What more should we expect at this time of year? Got a good show for you. Got a lot of things going on. Finally, a little bit of winning going on in our city that we'll talk about here in just a couple of minutes. But let's get to our daily Titans update with Terry McCormick, which is brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She wants to be your mortgage lady, and through the folks at USA Mortgage, that is absolutely possible. So dial her up, 615-969-4350. Let's say hello to Terry McCormick, Main Street Media. Terry, how are you?
Doing well, George. How are you?
Good. What's going on over there?
Well, George, the Titans are getting ready, as you know, to play the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday at Nissan Stadium. And to me, this is kind of a measuring stick game for this team, because when you're talking about where this season kind of got off the rails, I think you can look at Indianapolis up there. And I apologize for the noise that's going on here. The open part of media just ended, and there's nowhere else to go. So, but nonetheless, I think this is kind of where this got off track for the Titans this year. They were 2-2 heading into that game. Most people thought they could go up there and get a win, but certainly didn't work out that way. And since then, they're 4-7. So this is, I think, a chance for them to take on the Indianapolis Colts and see if they've grown a little bit from when things kind of got off the rails.
Yeah, but let's be honest. We know the answer to this before they play. They haven't grown a bit. This team isn't anywhere close to the rest of this division. All you got to do is watch Jacksonville and Houston on Sunday, which I did. Terry, they're nowhere close to those teams.
No, especially on offense. They're not anywhere near being able to have the firepower that those teams do. And it starts and ends with the offensive line and the shortcomings there. Plus, other than DeAndre Hopkins, they really don't have any playmakers on the outside to get the ball to consistently. So it certainly is an uphill battle. If they're going to be in this game on Sunday and have a chance to win it, then it's going to mean the defense playing much better than they did in Indianapolis, and the offense being able to take advantage of opportunities when they get them.
Terry, you were the first person I heard bring up the whole concept of this team needs to use the building of the new stadium as sort of a be ready by the time you get in the new place to be really good. Now, I don't think they were smart enough to ever figure that out going in, but I'm starting to sense that maybe that concept is beginning to filter in a little bit. Are you?
Maybe. I mean, I think that they'd like to be competitive before then if they can, certainly with $100 million in cap space next year and hoping to have a high draft pick, or actually they probably want to win more games if they can, but likely having a high draft pick. I think you're going to see this team probably be in a situation where they'd like to be already competitive by the time they get there, but certainly by the time that stadium opens in 4 years, they need to know what they have in Will Levis. They need to know where they're headed on offense, and they need to be able to have stacked some good drafts together.
Anything else you want to share with us?
No, that's about it, George. Kind of a, slow day as we wind down toward the end of the season. So,
good looking hoodie, by the way.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Who is the, go a little lower on it. What are the letters?
Oh, it's an Under Armour logo.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, it's good to get them some free airtime. Yeah. Good luck to the Yankees.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. See you soon.
See you.
Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She wants to be your mortgage lady, and through the folks at USA Mortgage, that absolutely is possible. So dial her up at 615-969-4350. Let us check in with Mr. Positive, glass totally full, Kelly Holden.
Right. Yeah, why were you so enamored with his sweatshirt? It was just an Under Armour sweatshirt. Just relax.
I couldn't tell. I didn't see.
He thought he saw a Yankees logo.
Oh, he did. Oh, is that what it was?
That's what I think.
What is your
And
logo?
if
Is that free from the '89 Music City Bowl?
Kelly, the first year of the bowl was in '98. I don't believe you were with us at that point. In '98, where would you have been?
1998. I was with the Indianapolis Colts.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, so you were the enemy.
I was. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we weren't enemies at that time because the Titans. I do remember when my last year at Indianapolis, when we had the big turnaround when Peyton got there, and we went from 3-13 to 13-3 the next year. Then the Tennessee Titans came up, and Eddie George. I remember being out
I
on
was
the field,
there.
and Eddie George. Yeah. Eddie George had the biggest calves on a human being that I've ever seen in my life. His calves were bigger than my quad muscle, and I'm like, that dude right there is unbelievable. And then that was the year y'all went to the Super Bowl. I guess it was '99. Was it '99?
Yeah, and the second after the Miracle, the Music City Miracle, it was on to Indy, and we did our show up there, and we went on Friday night. The Lakers had this long winning streak going, and we got tickets in that beautiful. Well, it's not beautiful new now; it's 20 years old, but back then it was Conseco Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
And we saw the Pacers upset the Lakers. We went to St. Elmo's, that great steakhouse.
Oh, so you've been to St. Elmo's. Wow.
Oh, yeah. And then on Sunday,
He's up there with you, Kelly.
the Titans fans sort of took over the RCA Dome.
Beat us, beat our brakes off. There's no question about that. What did you have you eaten at St. Elmo's many times or just that one time?
Just the one time. Kelly, for the most part, if a restaurant is good, I have not been there.
You haven't?
No.
Well, too bad. St. Elmo's was
pretty
St.
good.
Elmo's. My wife and I went there a bunch, man. And they got this. I wish we could take Billy, but they've got this shrimp cocktail that they make with, the straight horseradish, and man, that stuff will burn. I took some offensive linemen there when I was playing with the Buffalo Bills, and we played credit card roulette with the thing, and who got stuck with the tab? Oh boy, here. So it was a bunch of money, but I forget the guy's name. He was our guard, but I told we got some appetizers and we got some of those shrimp cocktails for the table. Well, he took that and he started stacking that. He started stacking that on the shrimp, and I'm just sitting there and I got my shirt and I'm like, this dude's crazy. And dude, when he took it, it burnt his whole. And he started going, it burned him bad. I didn't say a word either. I was like, that's a little bit too much there, buddy.
So you're just supposed to get a little bit. I mean, you're not supposed to.
No, we don't drench it. This is not like ranch dressing.
He drenched it.
Yeah.
And I was quite shocked, and it made me laugh. There's no question.
He later passed.
He passed something. I don't know what he passed, but he passed something.
So, Billy, you have an update.
I do. And Kelly just talked about people being shocked. I think a lot of the NHL world is shocked right now about what's going on here in Nashville. They beat the Penguins. Preds did 3-2, 6 straight win. Forsberg scored. McCarron had a couple of goals as well. Preds are rolling. It's kind of nice to see a winner in town again.
We're going to talk with McGee at 2:20. Here is a staggering stat. Okay, and it's early, and don't take it for anything. If the season stopped today,
they'd be in.
That's
wild.
How about that?
Y'all had already given up. Y'all had already given up on them.
Oh, I think everybody had. I think probably people inside that building probably had. Nobody saw this coming. I'm
82. Wow.
82.
And like Guy said, Thanksgiving is usually the, if you can tell but around Thanksgiving if you're in or not, or if the chances are so low if you're not at that point.
The things that Barry Trotz talked about with us in April when we did the special show here are starting to really happen. It hit me Sunday night. In the first period, they absolutely waxed Winnipeg, and they were buzzing around all over the place. And I was like, this is exactly what Barry was talking about.
Yep.
So anyway, it'll be a fun discussion. They play Minnesota tomorrow night.
Yep.
With John Hines,
return.
the new
How about
coach of the.
That's so weird.
Yeah,
right as the Preds are getting hot, everything's changing. Now they play the old coach. Let's face it, no one really liked. I mean,
and then 2 days later, Peter Laviolette and the New York Rangers come to town.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of coming to town, Aaron Rodgers might be coming back. His return from the IR is today. A 21-day practice window opens today. He will begin practicing with the team. It's been less than 3 months since he tore his Achilles.
It's unbelievable. I've never heard of anything like this before in my life. I just want to know all the gadgets, all the machines he's using, all the lasers he's using. I'm sure he's getting in those hyperbaric chambers where he's breathing like 100% oxygen. I would like to know what his protocol was to get back so soon.
Well, let me ask this question. Should they be doing this right now? I mean, this team's not going. This team's not going anywhere.
I don't know. I guess the doctors around him they're giving him I don't know, man. I've never seen anybody or heard of anybody that's had an Achilles tear that's been back this early. Not ever, not even close. Like that's a 6 month deal. And normally it takes a year for people to get over it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Comeback player of the year, right? His odds on Monday were 2,200. His odds today, 1,200 to win that award.
So when does he think he's going to play?
Well, 21-day window. I mean,
3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks at the most.
December 18th-ish.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would guess.
Good Lord. I'll say this, only if it's his belief that he needs this for the confidence to know next year that he's going to be okay. I get that part, but if they're not in contention, I don't risk this.
Yeah, I mean, if they're out, there's no reason. He's probably kind of playing it that way.
Of course, that said, I don't have to announce the Jets and watch that every week. Boyle under center, play fake, sacked.
Handoff, loss of 2.
They give to Hall, hit in the backfield. It's a 3-yard loss. It'll be 3rd and 17.
College football playoff rankings last night. Georgia number 1, Michigan 2, Washington 3, Florida State 4. I think as we expected. Ohio State at 6. So Buckeyes still alive, but barely breathing there. I mean, I guess they've got a shot still. Same Texas, Alabama 7 and 8, Oregon at 5. I think the biggest thing was where's Ohio State going to be? They got them at 6.
So what this committee does not want is to have to explain to Alabama why beating Georgia does them no good, or have to explain to Texas why the head-to-head of beating Alabama in Tuscaloosa maybe doesn't mean anything. Kelly, they're in an impossible situation.
Hey, man, it's a tough deal. I'm going to be honest with you. And if Alabama does beat Georgia, man, that's going to just throw it all out of whack. I don't know what you do, George. I mean, I really don't. And then if Texas wins, you got to put Texas in. I mean, I think Oregon is going to beat Washington. I'm with you. So I think Oregon's going to be in the top 4.
Yep.
I'm not going to be surprised if Louisville beats Florida State. I said yesterday, I still think Florida State's got a better roster, but it wouldn't surprise me because we've talked about it. Jeff Brom's a good coach, and they're playing with they don't have Jordan Travis, so it wouldn't shock me for them to get beat. So if those things happen, man, this thing is going to get turned upside down.
I know
what they need to do is call the networks and say, could you make space if we go 12, like now?
Now.
Who are, Billy, help me with this. Do you have in front of you 9, 10, 11, 12?
Missouri's at 9.
Okay, hold on. So the first 4 a year from now would get a bye.
Yes.
Okay, 5 would
Yeah.
play 12. Who would that be this year?
12 would be Oklahoma.
So Oregon, Oklahoma.
Who's 5?
Oregon versus Oklahoma.
Oregon.
Ooh, that'd be a heck of a game. Keep going. 6, 11.
Ohio State versus Ole Miss.
Ooh, yeah.
It's a pretty good game.
Keep going.
Texas against Penn State.
That's
a good matchup. And then this would be, I don't think they do this, but Alabama, Missouri. I mean, you would probably get some SEC matchups.
They have no choice. I mean, that's the way.
Yeah, that's the way it lays out.
So you don't think
That's
they'll
right.
look at that, conference?
No.
That's what's going to be cool about it. Like, I mean, could you imagine Missouri and Alabama, but even better, like if Tennessee gets in there? I want to see Tennessee.
So let me ask you this: so the top 4 have an off week to begin
Have a
with.
first round bye.
Then the next 4 are at home, right?
Yes. Yeah. So there's different tiers. If you're in the top 4, say you're Florida State, you're playing for a bye against Louisville, and if you lose, you're still probably hosting though. I don't think they would drop back, 4 spots. Now they might, but some teams that aren't necessarily huge right now this year are massive.
Who's number 13?
13 LSU.
Oh my God!
Wow.
That's where there's going to be the debate.
That's where
10 through 20.
That's where all the stuff will hit the fan.
Yeah, like a team like Arizona would probably have a case because of how good the Pac-12 is right now. Louisville's loss to Kentucky would be, that would basically eliminate them unless they would beat Florida State. It's going to be so much fun.
Oh, bring it on.
I can't wait.
Bring it on a year early.
All right, did y'all watch the game on Saturday, right?
Which game? There were several.
The game.
Michigan, Ohio State.
Yeah, you'll watch
the game.
Right?
Connor Stallions. Okay.
Yeah. Well, y'all weren't alone. That averaged 19 million viewers. That is more than the NCAA men's basketball title last year, the Kentucky Derby, NBA Finals Game 5, Masters World Series Game 5. The Iron Bowl had averaged 9 million. So 19 million.
Hold on a second. In fairness, today's show will beat Game 5 of the World Series.
It might. Maybe yesterday with Tony. That one would have.
Keep going.
Stanley Cup Game 5, 2.7 million. So, also KJ Jefferson from Arkansas is expected to enter the transfer portal. Just as the program brought back Bobby Petrino. So kind of interesting timing. They bring Bobby in, and KJ, I don't know if he met with him and decided he didn't want to play.
Is he getting any play, Billy? Or do we know?
KJ Jefferson?
KJ, yeah.
With other teams?
Yeah.
I don't know yet. He just entered the portal. I would guess. I don't know, though. He's kind of an interesting.
I'm out on that. In my old radio days, one of the little tricks I would love to use right now would be if we were doing our show on remote at an outdoor venue, I would ask everybody driving by, if you're listening to the show and you've entered the transfer portal, honk.
Well, there's a couple of coaches here as we roll on. Oregon State announced last night that defensive coordinator Trent Bray will be elevated to head coach. So they probably didn't really have much of a choice there. With their spot in the conference, it's probably tough.
What conference?
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. Well, Sean Lewis, you remember him from Colorado? The last month, he was demoted and Pat Shurmur took over. San Diego State has hired him. Yeah. Heck of a hire for San Diego State. Sean Lewis, one of the best offensive minds in the country. So thought that was interesting. College basketball tonight, Tennessee at North Carolina, 6:15.
That'll be worth watching.
Yep. Boston College and Vandy tonight.
8:15.
Yep, late.
Memorial Gym.
Yep, and then Duke at Arkansas. It's another good one.
Calling them hogs.
Up there at Bud Walton Arena. And then earlier today also, 11 a.m., I don't know why this game started at 11. Lipscomb beat Chattanooga 82-68.
I went to it. It was a deal where they had, some elementary schools there. There was a great buzz at Allen Arena. Lenny Acuff's got a pretty darn good team.
He sure does.
They're pretty good.
He sure does.
They are pretty good.
And, at that level, you can get good with those portal guys, and he's gotten some really good guys out of the portal.
All of you honk if you've hit the portal.
Let's see here. Lastly here, Rock Batten has resigned at Ensworth after 5 seasons. And all of a sudden, there are some big openings in the mid-state. Brentwood Academy has an opening. Lipscomb Academy has an opening. BGA has an opening. So a lot of coaches leaving the old mid-state here in high school.
I'll make it clear that I'm not going.
I'll make it clear, too. I don't want it at all.
Well, and Kelly, I think we talked about it a couple of days ago. High school is, they're not far off from college with the way these players are leaving schools and, being able to play. Oakland they pick up 4 guys this year. And, same thing with BA, but that didn't really work out.
So you're having that much fun on the show. Wow.
I can't say I'm having that much fun on the show, but it's more than I was having fun with on the football field every day. having to get kids trying to coerce them to come to practice. I'm not into that. I'm more of an old school.
Mm-hmm.
I am a lot like Coach Donnelly. I'm not a yeller, but good gracious, I don't need all that, man.
Okay, well, it was great to hear some of your philosophies. Not very deep. Seemed kind of shallow.
We got to go to a break, man. I'm looking at the time. We got to go to a break.
Yeah, good eye there, Kelly.
I can give you some philosophy if you want it. I can talk for about 30 minutes.
We want none of it. Absolutely none of it. Mark McGee will join us. We will talk about the surging Preds, 6 in a row, next.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House. where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. Well, I think all of us who care about the Preds are a little startled, shocked, thrilled with what's been going on over the last 2 weeks. 6-game winning streak, and if the season stopped today, and I realize this is nuts, but they're a quarter of the way through the season, and at this moment, the Preds would get in. They'd be in the playoffs.
It's wild.
It's insane. Mark McGee joins us to talk about this surge. Gee, how are you?
I'm doing well, George. Thank you.
So I want to shoot this theory at you, and it's not very hockey sounding, but here goes. I think that what is going on is that they have simplified from a team that was losing 7-5 kind of games, and somewhere they said to themselves, we've got to get more into the 4-2, 3-2 range, and if we do that, things will be better. That doesn't sound very hockey, but do you think there's some truth to that?
Well, the defense has really not played badly, even though there've been all the injuries like Jerron McDonough and Luke Shin. Both of them are back now and playing. But the defense really was pretty strong. Dante Fabro had really made some improvements this year. He's been known to make some less than smart moves on the ice, but he's played a much more disciplined game. Is right there near the top of Roman Josi as far as the defensive pairings go. So, and Roman Josi, probably the best defenseman in the league, arguably. And so, the defense has been okay. I think what's happened is the offense, they're playing that much faster offense. I think the players finally, we talked about this the other night a little bit, you and I did. I think the players finally understand what Andrew Brunette's game plan is. And I think that, they finally are, they're not out of position like they were early in the season. Last times they were out of position. They didn't seem to be in the flow of the game at all. But now they're playing a full 60-minute game, and the other night they played a full 60 minutes and 14 seconds. But they're playing a much stronger overall game. And I think it's more the way they've adjusted to Andrew's approach to the offense as much as is the defense right now. And what's real ironic, when you look at the team, even though they won 6 in a row, but you kind of wonder how many more they'd have won had UC Saros been playing like a Vezina Trophy candidate like he has in the past. He has become almost the weakest link right now and on the team. So, I mean, it's kind of, who would have ever thought that might be the case, that people are trying to wonder what he's going to be doing here. Like I said, a slow starter. Nobody really understands why that's the case. He's always a slow starter. But still, you look back, you look at the team and think, wow, if he was playing the top of his game, who knows what would have happened. But 6 games in a row, going for 7. They haven't won 7 games since December of 2021, 7 in a row.
Wow.
So it's been a while.
So, Guy, I would argue on UC, it's been in spurts. For instance, Sunday night I was there against Winnipeg, and in the first period, it could have been 4-0 Winnipeg. He did such a job in the first period, stood on his head. So we're getting it in spurts from him, but maybe not for the full 60.
Yeah, it's not a consistent play right now. And Kevin Lankkonen's been a really, really great clutch goaltender for them. He's come in to give UC a breather. And I wouldn't mind seeing Lankkonen play a little bit more to give UC a little bit more time off, especially early on. So I don't know. It's just, like I said, he's a slow starter. Nobody really can put a reason for that. But he's got, he really, No, he's been the weakest link on defense in some games. Like I say, he's playing well in spurts, but not playing a consistent 60 minutes. He's not the UC that they can depend on to keep them out of hot water. You can't. He does do that some, like you said, the first period against Winnipeg, but he's not. I don't think they really can feel consistently that he can keep them from getting in trouble from a defensive standpoint. So I think that's the big key right there with him. He's just going to have to be more consistent as a player.
So, Guy, we've experienced the low with them, which was that road trip, the CMA road trip, where they really were not very good. Now we've seen this 6-game winning streak, which is obviously the high of highs. In your opinion, what is this team? Are they a playoff contender? What are they?
I think with the depth they're showing right now, offensively, and with the defense back pretty much healthy again, I think they're definitely in the mix right now. They may be one of that 24% of teams that aren't in the playoff spot on Thanksgiving Day who wind up being in the playoffs. They might make that 24% from that standpoint. So I think Andrew Brunette, Barry Trotz had reasons to bring Andrew Brunette in. And I think one thing you have to look at with him, and you don't really see it on the ice. Well, I guess you do in a way, but Andrew Brunette, this team has a horrible trip. And they come back and lose a couple of games. And, this is a team at that point, a young team like this especially, they could have fallen apart. They could have just completely imploded. And as a coach, he was able to keep these guys on an even keel and keep their confidence level up. And look what's happened. I mean, I think Brunette needs to get a lot of credit for keeping this team and keeping that locker room upbeat and realizing, we can play this game and we do this. And I think the players are beginning to believe that they could be a playoff team right now, which is very important.
And Forsberg, everything he touches right now turns to gold. Kelly, it's a little bit like you in the NFL. Just if you touched it, it turned to gold.
Well, he's the cat.
It happened quite a bit. Hey, I was going to tell you. I know that Mark said that he started practicing for your celebrity bowling deal, and I was watching Mark a couple of times, and he had the lead.
Right.
He had the Lee Fowler. He had the Lee Fowler get along because I watched him a couple of times, and Mark, I'm sorry, but the pins just started falling over because they waited for so long for the ball to get down there. Sorry.
Thank you, Kelly. Hey, I got a 9-2 for one game. I felt like that kind of quieting down Larry Schmittou. So.
Okay. So maybe I stirred up a meeting between Mark and Larry Schmittou. What got said in that meeting?
Oh, well, he just said he watched me bowl. Unlike Kelly, Schmittou watched me bowl a couple frames, and I was doing pretty good. And he said I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it.
So he was positive and upbeat. Kelly, on the other hand,
he was. So Kelly,
negative.
Kelly, I'm sorry. I'm 60.
I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just being honest. I mean, I told Lee Fowler the same thing, and if Mark would have been sitting beside me, like he was down the lane, few lanes from me, but he was throwing the ball so slow that the pins just got tired of waiting and they just fell over.
Hey, Guy, let me tell you.
They committed suicide.
Oh, wow. Guy, let me tell you who has the fastball. Dan Winkler, the former Atlanta Brave reliever. Whew.
Yeah.
Man, you talk about throwing gas. Holy cow. Those pins were trying to get away from him.
Oh, me.
Funny, one of your friends, George, I don't know which one it was. It was the last one on the screen, but he could throw that thing, man. He was exploding pins the other night. It's funny to see some guys can and some guys can't. Some guys just barely throw it, and it just explodes the pins. It's kind of fun to watch.
I looked like a Jamie Moyer changeup.
Yeah, yours don't do that.
No. Go ahead. Do you have anything?
Greg Max's fastball was only 80 miles an hour, and look what he did. So, hey,
I know that's true. I thought you were doing a good job, George, but I just got one or two questions. But here's my deal, Guy, is they've got a new coach. They've got a bunch of new players. I mean, isn't this like you got to have a little time to know each other, and then these guys getting used to playing with each other. These guys getting used to an offense. Andrew Burnett put this new offense in. They want to be faster. Isn't these guys just getting accustomed to the system? And maybe this is what you see for the remaining of the year.
Yeah, I think they finally understand what's going on. And like I said earlier with George, I think they're not a position like they were early in the season. They're understanding the game. Their forecheck is great. They're doing a great job overall. And in the blue between the blue in the zones, and so I mean it's just really I think that they finally grasp what Andrew wants them to do. Andrew's done a good job of keeping them upbeat and giving them and saying, hey guys, we're going to get better. It's just a matter of time. The young guys have gotten a lot of chances to play. So that's been a great thing from that standpoint. Luke Evangelista right now is second among rookies in points. Who'd have thought that? Pretty good rookie class this year. So I mean, and that's the type of player you need. And they've got offensive depth now. All those young guys are scoring. Kind of showed in the St. Louis game. I mean, it was a scoring by committee game to a large extent. Though I think Forsberg had 2 goals, but the rest of it was kind of scoring by committee overall, and so that's what they need every game. And having a guy like Michael McCarron come through with 2 goals against Pittsburgh, I mean, those are the type of players that have to step up. Forsberg's going to be consistent. Roman Yossi's going to be consistent. Ron O'Reilly and Nyquist, all those guys, that first line, they're going to be solid. But right now, the second, third, and fourth line are all pretty solid right now. They're all contributing, and that's what you got to have. And that if they keep on doing that, they will be a playoff team.
I know that George talked a little bit about Philip Forsberg, and we know about him. We know about the Nyquist guy. There's other guys that we know about, but I've never heard y'all ever talk about this Michael McCarron guy, and he's been playing really well. I mean, he played good last night. He scored 2 goals. So what kind of player is he?
By the way, nicknamed Big Sexy.
Yeah, that's right. Michael McCarron came. All he needed was an assist against the Pittsburgh Penguins to have a Gordie Howe hat trick because he had the fight, he had the goal, and all he needed was 2 goals, and all he needed was an assist. He is known for being a fighter and kind of exciting the team because he's not afraid to drop the gloves and go after somebody. He has not played that much this season. So that's when we haven't talked about him. But he's starting to play more right now and has shown that he can do it. Another one, Philip Tomasino, we don't talk about him a whole lot, but he's been sitting as a healthy scratch. He's been in and out. But I think he finally understands his role right now. When he comes into a game, he's making a contribution. It's hard to do that when you've been sitting for a game or 2. So, I mean, these are the type of guys that are coming through for them. That's what you got to have. I mean, hockey's it's great to have a Forsberg who just dominates and he leads the team in every category. But you got to have hockey's a team game. You got to have everybody clicking on a certain level, and they're doing that right now.
So, Guy, my last thing, George. So you talked about Thanksgiving being kind of the cutoff. Are you a playoff team or are you not a playoff team? So let's put you on the hot seat. Do they make it or do they not?
I said they may be part of the 24% that's not that is not in playoff position on Thanksgiving Day that winds up making the playoffs. They may be part of that 24%. I think that right now, like I said, if they keep on doing what they're doing, the offense keeps on playing the way it's playing, and the defense stays healthy. And like you said, the defense never really dropped that much. And you kick Saros' game up a little bit more, they're going to be hard to beat.
Bring it on.
Hard to beat.
Okay, so
wait, one more. I want to
go ahead, Billy.
Throw this at Guy. How about this season? The way last year went, and now you've got John Hines bringing his Wild team in here tomorrow night, and then on Saturday, Peter Laviolette's team coming into Bridgestone, right, George?
Right.
On Saturday.
Yes.
How crazy is that?
All 4 Predators coaches will be in the building this week. You got Barry's general manager, of course, who was first coach. You got Andrew Burnett, who'll be coaching the game. You got Hines the Thursday night, and you got Lavalette on Saturday. Yeah, all 4 of the previous. It was like history on the move this week in Bridgestone. So yeah, and I think. And see, the Wild, even though they're pretty far down the Central, The Wild still thinks they have a chance. That's one reason they made the coaching change when they did, getting rid of Dean Evison so early. Because they feel like making a change may help them, it's going to help them out. And Lavalette is doing what he always does when he first takes over a team. They're winning. He can't keep, the only thing about Lavalette is he can't keep it going after the first season or two. He's great that first season when he comes to takes over a team, but he's not. But it kind of the returns kind of waver as time goes on with it when he's a coach. So he's doing exactly what he usually does with the Rangers right now. So
it's the Billy Martin law of diminishing returns. So, Guy, let me close it out this way. You and I both believed a couple 3 weeks ago that Barry Trotz was looking in the trade world at certain pieces. He was not very happy, when they were 5-10, and can't blame him for that. How close do you think he came to pulling a trade trigger?
I don't really know for sure, and I don't know anybody has that answer because Barry probably didn't say that much to anybody about it. But he was looking. He looked there were 2 or 3 players that came up as possibilities that he was looking at, and of course the Edmonton thing was very attractive because they have a great offense. They just can't stop anybody from scoring, and so yeah, I think they were close to doing it. I don't think the urgency's there now. It certainly was early on. Everybody needs a top 6 forward. So trying to find one is kind of hard to do. There aren't that many out there. And so, I mean, he was looking for something that everybody wants to have, but it's kind of like, it's kind of like Black Friday on the rush on a bargain. Not everybody, you're not going to get it if you don't get quick enough, So it's kind of like it's like Sonny Gray and the Braves trying to get those. And so I'm sure he had looked at some people. There were some money issues with 1 or 2 players and things like that. So, but yeah, he was looking. He was shopping around, and I think Saros and maybe Yaroslav Askarov were all both possibly trade bait. I know Dante Fabro was for sure.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That was out there a bunch. Guy, good stuff as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you, George. Appreciate it.
Pretty amazing what's going on, 6 in a row. And let's be honest, the city could kind of use it right now. We need something that's positive.
I was going to say,
George,
George,
I got a question. Sorry, Billy. And this is for both of y'all. So y'all talked about the Lavalette guy.
Yeah.
Why is he come and then he starts winning and then he just, like you say, diminishing returns? What is it his personality? What does he do? Does he rub the players wrong? Does he not? I mean, I just kind of want to know.
I think that he is a real taskmaster.
Okay.
I didn't say that well, did I? I think he drives a really hard bargain. And I think for a year or two, everybody kind of buys in, but there is no question he lost that locker room. And the truth of it is, I think the Predators had the intention to fire him a week to 10 days before they did it. And I think the NHL asked them not to do it because they were about to go down to Dallas for the Winter Classic. I think they'd already made up their mind. There was a game here against Dallas where they gave up 4 goals in the second period. And I remember I walked out. It was on a Saturday. I walked out totally disgusted, saying something is really wrong here. This guy's lost this locker room. And without knowing, because obviously I would never have access to be in their locker room, but the track record suggests that there's a certain point where he loses a locker room. Period.
Well,
that's what I don't know. Like, why do you keep hiring him? Why do people keep hiring him?
Is he kind of a stopgap?
Well, first of all, he knows hockey. He's not stupid. He's a good hockey coach. Billy Martin was a great manager. Now, you could argue that Billy Martin's biggest sins were the bottle, would get him in a lot of his trouble, and players, would get sick of it. He was always getting in fights in bars, fights with pitchers on his pitching staff. And I think after a while with Billy Martin, players there was a fatigue. I think with the Predators and Peter Laviolette is what you do with me, tune out.
Yeah, well, you get a lot of that. You get a lot of that.
Thank you.
But I'll say this, George, it's changed a lot this year already, especially in the last week around the franchise. This crowds this weekend are going to be really good. And I mean, you've been going, I know. I haven't had a chance to go as much, but
I'll be there tomorrow night.
And Saturday it'll be big too. So
we'll go to the break.
I got some breaking news, by the way.
Breaking news
out of the transfer portal.
Okay. Hold on.
Here we go.
Hold on.
Hey.
Let me do a little ESP. The entire Nevada football team hit the transfer portal.
No, Vermont.
Vermont. What do you got?
I was going to tease it and then release it after the break.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Breaking news. Not all that breaking. 3 minutes from now, someone else will have it. Stay tuned.
Way to go, Billy. Way to go.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Wow. We have a breaking news sounder.
Yes, we do.
Wow. Boy, that's
official right there.
That's big.
Big news. Big news.
Big news. So Max Johnson.
It better be big.
I think it's pretty big. Max Johnson, former Texas A&M quarterback, of course, got hurt this year, is headed to North Carolina. Or no, he did not. He was not the one that got hurt this year. He actually ended up playing. Connor Wegman got hurt. But Max Johnson, nonetheless, is headed to North Carolina.
Max Johnson is going to see every school before he ends his college career.
Yep, started at LSU. Was he anywhere before LSU? I think that's where he started. Went to A&M, and now he's at North Carolina. So I think that's a good get to replace Drake May.
So he's one below JT Daniels.
Yeah.
If he'll go one more, then he could be on the same float at the Rose Bowl parade, the transfer portal float. So let me ask you this. Are any of these quarterbacks going to Vandy?
I doubt. No one the rest of the country's talking about. I mean, I guess we could be surprised, but K-State's Will Howard is still out there. Tyler Sorsby from Indiana, Tyler Shuck from Texas Tech. There's a lot of good quarterbacks. I say good, I don't think there's many splash quarterbacks out there as we might think, but there's a lot of solid players out there. I doubt Vanderbilt really attracts. I mean, what do you say,
George? I thought that's where Billy was going to go. I thought he was going to say Max Johnson to the Commodores, and then he goes North Carolina, and that let everybody down.
That would require Vanderbilt to use the NIL collective.
Okay, Billy, hold on. You asked a pretty good question. Go with it.
What does Vandy say to a portal kid right now to try to get them to school?
You'll get a lot of playing time.
I mean,
you're in a big city. You're in a great.
Kelly, yesterday they picked up Zaylen Wood from MTSU, defensive lineman, one of their better players, and he was a good recruit. I mean, but that's he played at middle. I mean, nothing against, but that's kind of what Vandy's up against, right? I mean, they can
but there are a bunch of kids that end up starting at Western Michigan who move on to Wisconsin,
Yeah, you could say the same thing about the Jared Verse kid that went to Florida State. I mean, he was at the University of Albany, but you can't say he's from the University of Albany because he might be the number one defensive end drafted this year. He's pretty good.
Right. So, Billy, I mean, look, it's never going to be easy. I mean, personally, I wonder how you can bring a kid on campus on an SEC weekend when 90% of the stadium is another team's fan base. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
I don't pretend to know. I will say this. I think that job today is tougher than it has ever been because I think the gap, instead of closing a little bit, has gotten way wider. I think that the transfer portal has made it more difficult. Texas and Oklahoma joining the league has made it harder for them. Look, I don't have any of the answers anymore. I used to think I had some of the answers. I don't have any of the answers.
Well, and could you imagine what some of these coaches are going through in a lot of these exit meetings with players? You probably got some kids saying, "Coach, pay up or I'm out."
Well,
and the coach has to sit there and
here's the other thing.
Say?
And look, I don't know where it's going, but I can see scenarios these days where the coach says to the player, "You need to work on this, this, this," and the player says, "Well, frankly, you need to work on this, this, this. You need to learn how to call plays." There's been rumors that AJ Swan smarted off to a coach at one point.
Yeah.
Well, given some of the coaching I've seen, I'd have smarted off too. You know?
Yeah, I'm glad y'all didn't. I'm glad y'all weren't around when I was playing because I smarted off quite a bit.
Right.
I had a mouth on me.
Right.
I had a mouth on me.
Maybe it hasn't changed a little bit.
I've told y'all the story about me playing Nebraska and Coach Donnelly yelling at me, and then he turns around because I spatted off something to him, and he turns around to Coach Robbins, which is my quarterback coach, and he goes, "Alex, I don't know what you've done to that boy, but you've created a monster."
Kelly?
Highlights Memorial Stadium, Lincoln, Nebraska, forever.
Well, I mean, I'm out there and I'm getting killed by Trev Alberts, who was one of my former team. He was a former teammate of mine in Indianapolis, and he was I think he was the number 1 pick. Didn't make it very long, but I think he's the AD for Nebraska now. But I said, I'm like, that was the first time in my entire career in high school and college up until that point that I was sore before the game was over with. The dudes were about to kill me. It was like, hey, guys, let's go meet at number 12. And then Coach Donnelly's over there saying, Kelly, all you got to do is step up, son. And I said, are you watching the same blankety blank game I'm playing? And he turned around to Coach Robbins and he goes, you created a monster with that boy right there, Alex. I don't know what you've done.
Billy, I'm gonna plead the bowling fifth here. Have there been any staff changes at Vandy?
Strength and conditioning coach. That's it right now. Well, their staff.
I heard he was going.
Yeah, they've got some options though. I mean, I've heard about.
So, I mean, that's it so far.
That's it so far, and I've heard that there's a lot of the holdup is because of the recruiting, right? Signing day is on the 20th, and I don't think they would get rid of a coach. Then you risk losing a kid that he recruited. Right?
Okay.
Strength coach is the number 1 hire for a head coach that you better make, because the strength coach is around the players more than any other coach. Mm-hmm. I don't care about your position coaches, offensive coach. The strength coach is around those guys, and he's the motivator. You better make a good one in that. If you don't have a good one, you're behind the 8 ball already.
That is a really good point. After the break, Mac Hereford will join us. We got a lot to talk with him about. Bama and Georgia for the SEC title, and so much at stake. Mac will join us next.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family. And she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
All right, I'm here with my buddy Chip Ward from Lincoln Home Loans. And Chip, it's football season, and it feels like it's moving season every time of the year, especially here in Nashville. Tell us about your business, Chip, and kind of introduce people to who you are and what you do here in the Nashville area.
Well, you're exactly right, Billy. It is definitely moving season, as it is most times, especially right here after Labor Day. Kids are back in school, and people are starting to think they want to get settled in before the holidays. And so what we are doing is right now we are getting a lot of people pre-approved for home loans. Inventory has ticked up a little bit. it has been down, but it's rebounding a little bit. And right now is a good time to buy.
Chip, real quick before I let you go, tell people how they can reach you. And if someone is interested in your business, how would they reach out to you?
Well, sure. At Lincoln Home Loans, you can reach me at 615-500-7579. My URL for my application page is chipward.net, and my email address is simply chip@chipward.net. And so I'd love to hear from anybody. I can answer any questions about the whole home buying and financing process.
Top of the hour on a Wednesday, we're talking SEC title with Mac Hereford coming up. But first stat of the day brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards out in Shelbyville. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5 and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call, 931-492-4304. All right, let's see what Matthew's got cooked up today. We're going Preds. Philip Forsberg has 44 career game-winning goals. Who is the only other player in Preds franchise history with at least 40 game-winning goals with the Preds?
Oh, wow. He was a defenseman, but Kelly, I'm going to throw out Shea Weber.
That sounds good to me.
Shea Weber, by the way, was the biggest Blue Jay fan going. Now, he didn't always want to talk hockey with you, but if you got into the Blue Jays and the Braves, man, he was all in. Let's see if it is Shea Weber. Wow.
David Legwand.
We saw David last summer, and that was a great reunion. I hadn't seen him in about 10 years. Big Michigan Wolverine fan.
Great guy.
Used to love to throw that in my face.
Look at those old mustard uniforms.
Yeah. Wow. That's a great stat. Good stuff.
That is a good stat.
Okay, we're officially now into the 3 o'clock hour.
We are.
And we're headed, listen closely to this, to the Tide Pride Bat Cave, the home of Mac Hereford, who joins us. There he is on the right. Mac, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are y'all doing?
Good. So let's get sort of the kind of a little play-by-play of your bowling Monday night.
Well, I mean, look, I came out there. Your event was phenomenal. Talked to Kelly a little bit prior to my bowl. I'm coming off a little bit of an AC joint, little pain in my shoulder. I've been going to PT, but didn't stop me from coming out there and bowling. First round, bowled a 140 with Billy Derrick in my lane. Absolutely toasted him there. Made a little bet with Billy on the side. Said, hey, can we add up the 2 games? And, loser has to Venmo, whatnot. And then that second game, bowled a 149. Billy was starting off hot. I was getting a little bit worried, but then the cash just entered my pocket at the end of that second bowl.
Billy, so there was illegal gambling going on in
it
my
was
charity
completely
bowl.
Legal.
There's nothing illegal about
There's
that.
nothing illegal about it, George.
Mac, if you would have been beaten by Billy in bowling, I would have made you walk home.
And I'll tell you this, I would have walked home happily if I was beaten by Billy. I knew it wouldn't happen. He didn't have a chance. He was bowling. He had 4 strikes in a row, but it couldn't get him past the finish line.
Really?
It started awful. And that was my third game. Mac's first game was my third game. So I already had a couple of games.
Here we
on my
go.
belt.
No excuses, Billy. Just throw the ball. Just throw it.
The arm
just
was
spin it,
sore,
baby.
but strong finish wasn't enough to beat Mac.
First of all, let's start with Mac's injury. Okay, the world does not want to hear about your labor pains. They only want to see the baby.
Well, at least Mac with a hurt shoulder played. Kelly, I know Kelly's older, but you could have at least.
I didn't have a team. What do you want me to do? I didn't have a team.
Well, offer yourself to another team.
Exactly.
There wasn't anybody else, and I told you I've got a hurt shoulder like Mac. I'm out, dude.
You
I'm
know
50.
what? We're all.
I'm good. No, I'm not. I wasn't doing it.
We're tired of that. It's a bad attitude. Get well. Get some physical therapy. Go to Kelly Ziegler at Star Physical Therapy and work on it. By the way, Mac, are you back for next year?
What do What do you mean back for next
Well,
year?
this is your invitation for
Hey,
next
you're
year.
bowling, big dog.
Look, there was no doubt about it. I didn't even know I'd be asked, but look, now that I'm asked to be back next year, heck, you already know I'm back next year.
Okay.
Hey, y'all are going to find this funny too, George. When Matt came in, he was looking at me, and I was like, I don't know who this guy is, man. Is this kid a stalker or something? And he kept walking to me, and I'm like, this dude knows who I am. I think he's a stalker. I don't know who he is. And then when he got right up on me, I was like, oh, that's Matt.
I noticed there was something a little bit off. I was like, does Kelly not know? Is he not seen my face when we've talked on the show?
Yeah, but like you had a hat on. It didn't, like, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed now. You got to understand that.
Well, now
man.
thank you, Captain Obvious. So, okay, let's get to why we brought Mac in, which was not for him to gloat about bowling, although he certainly took the opportunity to do that. And Billy,
it was one of the better bowling days of my career. I had to shine a little bit of light on it. I've had a couple of games sub 100, so I was feeling good about myself, George. Let me have that moment, all right?
Mac, let me ask you this. The money that Billy owed you, is it right now in an IOU, or did you physically get cash?
It's not an IOU, but a Venmo.
Oh,
if you know what that is, George.
I know what it is. I don't know.
Just making sure. But Billy
Venmo'd how to execute that.
He Venmo'd immediately after the game, transacted right into my Venmo account. I deposited that and spent that money on good things and doing good works with it.
I'm not the social media influencer that you are. So here we go. So every year when Alabama and Auburn play, if the game's in Tuscaloosa, it's a wipeout these days and really not worth talking about. But when they go to Jordan-Hare, all hell breaks loose, and there's always crazy stuff going back into the late, 2008, 2009 till now. Mac, tell people, because you've been in this game, in that stadium, what goes on? What makes it so crazy?
Look, first of all, it's the Iron Bowl. I mean, for people can disagree. I think it's the greatest college football rivalry of all time. And like you're saying, there's some things you just don't understand. When you go into that stadium, those fans, Auburn can be one in whatever, they could have won one game, but the fans take that game every single year like it is their Super Bowl, their championship. And I think Auburn does as well. It's like they've been preparing just for that game every single year. And I remember one of the things is they're extremely loud. They have a great atmosphere. I mean, I don't like the stadium. I don't like the Auburn College campus. No offense to anyone who goes there. I like people who go to Auburn. Sorry. But it's just electric. Like the energy is so loud and the fans contribute a ton. And I think every single year, I don't know if it's a coaching thing. I don't know if it's a player thing. I don't know what it is, but they're able to come in there and think no matter how good Alabama is that they can beat us. And it's proven on the field. They're just confident. They come out there and it gets chippy. It gets exciting. But their sound has been a problem for us in the past. They've gotten really, really loud in that stadium. Remember one of the years we lost, we had a couple of snap issues because our center couldn't hear the snap count. And then in this previous game, I don't know if y'all saw it tailing the end of the game, right before the Milroe pass.
It clapped.
The DB clapped, and we snapped the ball, and then it was over Milroe's head. And so it's the sound. Like, it's so loud in that stadium. The fans always bring the energy for that game. And it's an experience unlike any other. It's like I said, the best rivalry in college football.
So Mac, let's take the play that ultimately wins it for Alabama, because even the most rabid Crimson Tide fan was shocked when the receiver was open in that corner and caught it. So is that simply luck? Is it a preparation level where Nick Saban is better than anybody else and you see it in that play? What is that?
It's a couple of different things. And one thing I want to point out that I thought was awesome, I saw a video. I don't know if y'all saw it, but Coach Saban's right-hand man, Cedric Burns, who's at every game, right next to Saban, every single game. It's crazy. There's a video of Saban and Cedric Burns watching the play unfold live. And Cedric Burns is just holding up the number 4, and there's just confidence on his face. I've never seen he was confident. So it's pretty crazy because it felt like he just knew. All that to say, it's a combination, I think, of both. I think there's a little bit of luck that the guy gets open. But also, when you're talking about preparation, who's the best, person when it comes to preparation in the college football world? I think that's Coach Saban. Sometimes we even thought he over-prepared at times because we're practicing more hours than other teams or doing more things or studying more than other teams. But it's a ton of preparation. I'm sure that we work on 2-minute. We work on end of the game plays. We'll slip it in there at the end of every practice. So no matter if we think we need it or not, Coach Saban's going to be prepared for almost any moment. Even going back to special teams, I remember this is the craziest is we would play, say we're playing Auburn. We would see who their coordinator is, their special teams coordinator. And if he was from another college 2 years prior, 3 years prior, his whole path, we studied the special teams formations and plays they did all the way at 4 colleges ago. And we were prepared for every single thing they could throw at us. So all that to say, I think there's a lot of preparation for that moment. But then there's also a little bit of luck that the guy's open. I mean, I don't know how Auburn lets that happen. I don't know what kind of defense. I've always said, even when I'm playing video games or Madden or something, if there's a Hail Mary, there's no way that someone should be able to make that catch or make that play because you should have the right coverage, But yes, all that to say, I think it's a lot of preparation that we prepare or Alabama prepares for every single moment possible. So I know they prepared for that, whether or not they thought they were going to be needing that play or using that play. And then there's obviously talent and skill involved. You got Jalen Milroe with a great deep ball, able to analyze. He saw the 2 guys in the middle were double covered. The guys on the outside were single covered. And so he throws it up there. Isaiah Bond goes up and makes a play in prime time, and Alabama wins the football game.
So I want to get your thoughts here because 2 years ago, Auburn absolutely blitzed everything but the basketball arena at Bryce Young and truly should have won the football game. And if Bryce Young hadn't been so brilliant, Auburn wins that game. They emptied every barrel. I use that term a lot. Empty all the barrels when it's a rivalry game, and Auburn did. And so here's Saturday, same kind of thing happens. But in that final drive, is there at all on the Auburn side oh crap, we're about to lose it again?
I don't know if there's an oh crap moment like we're about to lose it, but I definitely think in a game like that, take the same situation and put Auburn with the football, 4th down, however long, whatever the play was, however deep back. I think Alabama would be thinking the same thing. Fans. Now, I think players, I think it's almost surreal. Like I go back to the national championship game where Tua threw the pass and we won the game. It's almost surreal at that point. I don't even know what you're really thinking because you're so in the game. But I think for fans, there's definitely okay, we put them in a situation where it's the Iron Bowl. Something's going to happen, And in that situation, the likely thing's going to happen is there's going to be a play made on Alabama's side because we're just there, and that's what happened. We made a huge play. Again, I just still can't believe it. I mean, that was wild.
Oh, it was insane. So let me try it this way. Now you got Georgia, and in most cases, Alabama has the mental edge on people before you ever start because they're Alabama, and they're used to winning, and they always win, and blah, blah, blah. But now all of a sudden, there's a Georgia that somehow has gotten slightly past Alabama. They've won 2 national titles in a row. They're going for a 3rd. They've got this gaudy streak going. Do they now have that mental edge over Alabama that, hey, we've passed you by a tad?
Look, to say they've completely passed us, George. Now, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Now, wait a minute. What I said was, they've passed by you a tad.
I'll agree to disagree with that comment, but all to say, in certain ways, in the recent years, yes, they are that team that Alabama has been. They're consistently winning. There doesn't look like they are going to lose. There's nowhere in their path they look like they're going to lose. they look like an absolute unit. They don't have as many problems or holes in their offense or defense that we have. Special teams, they've had some games that have been a little bit, what the heck's going on? But at the end of the day, Georgia is in that position right now that we're usually in, that the Alabama Crimson Tide is usually in, with, I feel like, confidence and going into the game thinking we're going to win this game. But I think what's dangerous is an Alabama team that's not in that situation, because in previous years when we were that team that was consistently winning, consistently dominating, it's hard to keep that up. It's hard to stay motivated. Coach Saban does a great job of motivating the guys. But at the end of the day, yes, Georgia is that team, I think, going into the game. And I think there's a combination of reasons, whether it's having Kirby Smart, who was under Coach Saban, taking those, different strategies and game plans and putting them into Georgia's system, as well as Scott Cochran. I know we've talked about him on here, but I think he's a major part of that Georgia team. And he brings a lot of confidence to those guys. And so, yes, in this situation, I think Georgia is probably feeling more confident about beating Alabama than Alabama is beating Georgia. But there's no doubt in my mind the players on the Alabama Crimson Tide think they're going to go in there and whoop that Georgia butt.
The pressure's on Georgia. I mean, Alabama's, what do they have to lose? Georgia has a playoff berth to lose. And because if Georgia loses, they could be out potentially.
Could be.
It would be wild.
And if Alabama wins,
they could be out too.
They could be out too.
It would be insane if the two SEC best teams don't make it, is all I'm saying. That would be crazy.
So, Kelly, I've gotten through all the psychoanalytic babble. Why don't you get down to the game?
I mean, were you going to let me talk any? I mean, good gracious, what are we doing, George?
I think Mac was enjoying the questions I was throwing. I think they were very good questions. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
How did you feel about them?
Me?
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention.
Classic.
To be honest, Mac, I do want to know this. Okay, like some coaches, when they get to the end, you talk about the Iron Bowl, huge rivalry. It doesn't matter the records; it always comes down. But I want to know, like, some coaches get really tight, really tense in those situations when they're playing their rivals, because whether they like it or not, they were even talking about in the game the other day between Ohio State and Michigan. I think Charles Woodson even talked about, like, Ryan Day has done really well, but he can't beat Michigan now. And he's beaten everybody else, but that game right there can get you fired. And that game in the Iron Bowl has gotten people fired, but Saban's beyond that point. But I want to know how he acts during the week. I mean, is he different? I wouldn't think he would be different, but do you feel a little bit more tense during that week? Because sometimes, especially when they play Auburn at Auburn, it just doesn't look like the same Alabama team that you're seeing. And the other day, it felt like they were a little bit conservative. So I just give me a little bit of background on that. And how does he, during that week, how is he? Can you tell that he's a little bit more tight? Can you tell he's a little bit more anxious about the game?
The hard thing is Coach Saban is so consistent. It's one of the big value adds of the thousands of ads he has, but he's so consistent. And I think I've even mentioned it here on this show, but it doesn't matter who we're playing. He goes into every single game tries to have the same mindset, tries to have the same preparation for every single game, no matter who we play. If it's a team that hasn't won a game yet, if it's an FCS team, whatever it may be. But for the Iron Bowl in particular, and some other games, whether it's against LSU, there's definitely a little bit of edge. I think it's a little bit of like, he's like, I prepared the same way, prepared for every single team we played. And in the back of his head, I'm sure he's thinking, what are they going to do this time? What crazy are they going to get? The Mac Jones throws the ball, tips off Najee's hands, an interception, pick six. Like, it's a little bit of like, I would say naturally has to be thinking about those things, but he doesn't really show it too much. I would say, again, he's pretty consistent with any and every team we play, no matter what. But there's an emphasis in the locker room, obviously, that we are playing Auburn, and the guys, especially the guys from the Alabama area, know what that comes with, and the players take a sense of pride in that rivalry and definitely come with a little bit of edge during that week. Coach Saban definitely motivates them in a different way than he does with another team, but I would say he's pretty consistent throughout the whole season.
So give me a rundown on what you think in the SEC championship. What are the keys to the game for both teams? I mean, do you think Alabama has a shot, which obviously they do. I mean, they're there and they're playing a lot better. They didn't play great last week, but Georgia's the two-time defending national champ. And, Alabama, I'm sure, wants to knock them out of the catbird seat. So just give us a little bit of rundown on what you think is going to happen this weekend.
Like you said, I definitely think there's a chance we come out there and win that game. I hope we win that game. I think Alabama wins that game, and I think that there's a good shot. The things that concern me is you look at Alabama, and Georgia throughout the season has stayed pretty consistent. Like I said, they've had some minor setbacks in certain games where you're like, what are they doing? Maybe it looks like they're a little bit asleep, but no major flaws in their system and in their offense or defense this year. And then you look at Alabama. We had a couple of problems on special teams. We fixed them. We had a couple of problems on offense. We've started to fix them and improve them. Our defense looks pretty darn good. The thing that concerns me the most and what I want to see is a lot of the teams, if you look at what Auburn did against Alabama in the second half, their ability to kind of shut down Milroe was, they had an ability to do that in the second half. And a lot of the reason is these linemen, everyone wants to talk about the Alabama offensive line not looking great this year. What I realize is that they're a great offensive line in maintaining a pocket. So those guys, we have bigger guys, old school, type linemen who are maintaining that pocket, and they're big. If Milroe stays in that pocket, he has more time to make a pass. But the problem is, are the receivers open? And if they get open, is Milroe reading, and does he have the ability to read at that level where he's going to make that pass? Because what I've seen is when he comes out of the pocket and it breaks the pocket, if they have a QB spy on him, which I'm sure Georgia will do, then it becomes an issue because then he's like, okay, he breaks the pocket, and then the offensive linemen aren't as fast or as mobile enough to be able to hold those guys, stop them from getting to Milroe. And then he's got to think on his feet and either pass the ball or run. But if he's going to run, he's stopped by the QB spy. So that's really the biggest thing in the game. I think it's going to come down to, one, just execution on both sides. Are they going to be disciplined? Is Georgia going to be awake? Are they going to be ready for the game? But is Alabama going to be able to, is Milroe going to be able to make those reads and plays that are needed and maintain that pocket and stay in that pocket? Because he loves to escape the pocket. But again, that offensive line does a good job when he stays in that pocket. So that's what I'm curious to see, because it didn't look, like I said, in the last game against Auburn, I think everybody could see it. Milroe was balling in the first half. He still did great in the second half. He's a solid QB. But when they have that QB spy and they're giving him a little bit of blitz, it's hard for him to make that read quickly when he's, only has the run or the pass and can't read, as well as other quarterbacks do.
So last question. I know we got to go to a break. I'm going to go off the reservation here. Who wins the Heisman Trophy, man? What do you think? Because I know who I think, and I know you wouldn't vote for him because he's an old Auburn guy, but the dude's playing pretty good in Oregon.
So you think Bo Nix?
Oh, there's no question.
We do.
I'll just say this about it, that it is wild. At Auburn, he did not look like the same quarterback.
No.
And now he is balling, and his stats do put him up in a position where, look, maybe I would vote for him because I'm looking at skill. I'm not biased here. He's not at Auburn anymore, but he's making some plays. Jaden Daniels also, has had a great season, but LSU hasn't panned out to do the things they need to do to really, I think, put him in the position to win the Heisman. And then who's the other guy? I'm blanking.
Michael Penix.
Who's that?
Yeah, Michael Penix. Michael Penix from Washington. Yeah.
Yep. So it's going to be a close race. I think, like y'all are saying, Bo Nix is going to have the upper hand. I'm not afraid to say it. I think it really baffles me because it's like, wow, this guy at Auburn compared to what he's doing at, the other schools is unbelievable. But it'll be interesting to see on the Heisman.
Mac, one more thing here. Are you concerned with the way Alabama played in the Iron Bowl? Because Georgia against Georgia Tech struggled as well. And there's been a lot of talk about that.
And Georgia struggled at Auburn.
Exactly.
I've got a different opinion on it. I don't think that because we struggled in the last game, it's concerning because of the things like, again, throughout the season, we've had a lot of ups and downs. This is a different Alabama team that we've seen in the past. But they've made a lot of corrections and they've improved almost every game. and it's the Iron Bowl. So I don't put too much on it because you never know what's going to happen in the dang Iron Bowl. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I never will in Jordan-Hare Stadium. All that to say, I think, look, we need to get one more bad game or one more game to see what we need to fix, which I think we learned a lot from that game in some of our problems that we have on offense or defense. So I think it's only helpful for us going into this SEC championship game.
Did you notice earlier, Billy, from the Tide Pride Bat Cave?
What?
Well, that's what I called the room, the Tide Pride Bat Cave.
Tide Pride?
Yeah, I liked it. Mac, thank you for doing this. Thank you for coming out to the bowling event. We're going to be able to turn over some good monies to the two charities, and I really appreciate you. Thank Jordan Tiamu as well for being there, the former Ole Miss quarterback, and look forward to seeing you again next year.
Look, I can't wait, one, for this next year, but also for the bowling event next year to take some of Billy's money again. And look, maybe I'll get Jordan Tiamu on here next year, talk a little Ole Miss ball and SEC football as well.
We'd love that. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. See ya.
Okay, long interview, but a lot of stuff to talk about. So, Kelly,
Yes,
let
sir.
me throw this at you after the break.
Okay.
Is there something to the late in the game, the team that keeps finding a way to lose starts to say, oh, crap, here we go again? Hold on to that. We'll talk about it when we come back.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, you need to call Bart Durham. And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House. where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs.
Kelly, one of the things I learned as a 23-year-old sideline announcer doing Vanderbilt, and remember, back then, it was a lot like it is right now. Tough times, really tough times. And one of the things I learned was that on the sideline, there was sort of a vibe at times of, oh, crap, what do we do now? They'd get in the fourth quarter, and maybe they've, overachieved a little bit, and they didn't seem to quite know how to close the deal. There was sort of a, what do we do? Or, oh, crap, it's about to go down, And so I absolutely believe that there is mental baggage.
The deep-rooted problems with programs.
That teams bring to the table. Do you believe that at all affected Auburn last Saturday?
I don't know if it affected them because I think that Alabama just made the play when they had to. But that is a real situation, George. I've been on teams like that where everything was going good. Everything was going good, and we had lost a bunch of games, and we were playing really well. And then all of a sudden, the well playing stopped. And then the other team started getting momentum, and I can just remember guys looking and saying, "Oh crap, here we go again." That is a real deal because it becomes a habit. Winning becomes a habit, but losing can also become a habit. And Alabama has got that deal where Saban has been there for so long. They just expect that it doesn't matter what happens in the game. At the end of the game, we're going to figure out a way to win this game. And when you start thinking like that, you're going to win a lot of games. When you start being player led, I mean, I know that he's arguably maybe the greatest coach ever in college football, but when it's a player led team and you start putting peer pressure on your teammates and start, living up to the expectations, you can do a lot of things there. But that is a mental thing that you've got to get over. When you start losing and then you start playing better, but you've still been losing, and then things start going good in the game, well, it's good. And then they start going bad. Sometimes teams find ways to lose, and I've been on that team. I've been on those teams, man, and it's not an easy thing to get over. Where Vanderbilt is right now, they've had a legacy of that, man. It's just tough to get over, George, and I don't know. I mean, I've talked a bunch about Clark Lee. I like him a lot. Hopefully he can get over that. I don't know. I thought they were going to be better last year. I talked to a guy that's close to the program who knows what's going on, and they've got to get some linemen. We know that.
Oh,
they
God.
feel like they've got some skill guys, but they've got to get better on both sides and mainly on the offensive line. If they get some offensive line guys, I think they got a shot to be better. But until you do that, not going to happen.
They thought they were going to be a lot better at offensive line and defensive line. I think that's why they didn't really attack those spots as much in the offseason. But I mean, George,
didn't have enough offensive linemen,
right?
Really, ever.
Okay, so go back 2 years ago. If I remember correctly, and Billy, if I've got the year wrong, help me. 3 years ago, Tua came off the bench for Jalen Hurts, and a game that Georgia felt they were the better team, and Bama won in overtime. Remember?
Yep.
Okay. We've all seen the play. But what is forgotten is the SEC title game, I think it was a year later, where Bama smoked Georgia. Georgia thought they had gotten to Bama's level, but somehow they end up 4 weeks later in a national title rematch. And I remember thinking to myself, if Kirby doesn't win this one, he's never going to beat him. There has to be a point where you drop that thing into the ground and you say, no more. And somehow he got them in those 4 weeks. I didn't believe that his players, after they got smoked, but then found themselves playing him again in the national title, could ever believe they were good enough. And yet, I think it's Kirby Smart's finest coaching moment was when they then went in the fourth quarter. They got the interception for the pick six, and they ended up winning the national title game by double digits. And since that moment, I mean, I hate saying this to Mac Hereford, but Alabama has been surpassed by Georgia. Maybe not by much, but enough to win 2 national titles in a row and win, whatever it is, 30 million games in a row. They have gotten slightly past. And so while I hear you saying, Billy, that the pressure is on Georgia, I'm going the other way. The pressure's on Alabama. Because if Georgia gets them again, there's going to be a "we're your daddy. We now own you."
Max, I didn't say this, but Max 100% wrong. Georgia is.
Well, why didn't you say it? Because you owe him money. Because the Venmo probably didn't turn out good.
Yeah, but no, George. I mean, I just think Georgia with the back-to-back national titles. How are they? I mean, how are they not the cat daddy right now?
Right, Alabama. This is a program with a ton of pride.
Yeah,
and right now, Kelly, I don't think they can stand another loss to Georgia.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen, though. I think they're going to get beat by Georgia again. I really do. I just maybe Saban's got them doing something. I don't know. You're right though, George. Alabama has been consistent there for so long, and now Georgia's kind of taking the spot. And you go back to that game. You have to know your team. Kirby Smart obviously knew his team. You have to have some competitive kids on your team, and sometimes a loss is good. And in that case, that loss was good for Georgia because it made those guys even hungrier wanting to beat Alabama, and they smashed them in the national championship game. It was close for a little bit, but it really wasn't close at the end of the game. And ever since then, they've taken off, George. You're absolutely right.
Okay,
And I don't think Alabama they got a chance, but I don't think they can beat them.
Let me ask you this though. The next day after Georgia got smoked in the SEC title game.
Yeah.
If you walked in their locker room and you said, guys, 4 weeks from now, we're playing them again for the national title, would there not have been some, oh, crap, that's the one team we can't get past?
Well, it's that's what I'm talking about. You got to know the caliber of the kids that are in your locker room. If they're competitive kids and they don't like losing, then you got something, because that just pissed them off when they got beat in the SEC championship game. And from everything that I heard, that's exactly what happened. It pissed those guys off, and they had some knockdown dragouts on the practice field for the next 4 weeks. They were getting after it. From everything that I heard from people, they were getting after it. And, you hear Kirby Smart after that game. That's what our kids needed to kind of refocus them, because they'd gone through the season, didn't think they could be beat. Alabama goes and puts it on them in Atlanta, and then they come back 4 weeks and just smash the Tide. So they've gotten to the catbird seat in college football, in my opinion. I still think they're there. I still don't think anybody can beat them, but that remains to be seen. There's some really good teams. Oregon's playing well. Michigan's really good. I would have never believed what you said earlier in the season about Michigan being better than Ohio State. The trump card was always the Kyle McCord kid. Didn't play well in that game, and you were absolutely right. I just don't think Michigan is at Georgia's level anymore, or right now. I don't think they are. But you said that they may be the best team in the country, and you may be right.
I hope I'm
see.
wrong.
I mean, it'll play itself out. Yeah, it's going to play itself out in the next couple of weeks.
So Billy,
Willie again.
I know. Sorry. You should consider it a compliment.
I guess I will.
No, you shouldn't, Billy.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to speculate on what's going on in Tuscaloosa for just a second.
Okay.
This is how I believe this man operates. All week long, they're hearing glory, glory, hallelujah. That is playing all over that football part of that complex. Yep. So the other thing that's going on is in that locker room, he has had somebody in the film room bring up all the plays that Georgia made that have gotten them where they are. The pick six against Alabama, the celebration at the end, everything that is Georgia over Alabama, they are having to see and they are hating it.
And that's
also, what I believe.
I buy that too. I think there's a ton of motivation for Alabama. They're also going to play the David Pollock thing with Nick Saban on set. You know, Mac told us about all the motivation tactics.
Oh, yeah.
There is an incredible amount of motivation, but is Alabama the team good enough? Like, do they have the horses to beat this Georgia team? I mean, Kelly, you just said Michigan couldn't. And Alabama, I just don't think Alabama's not the dominant force that they were. Jalen Milroe's not Bryce Young. You know, they don't have a Jalen Waddle. They don't have a Jamison Williams, you know, that beat Georgia in that SEC title game. I think it's going to be close, and they've got motivation. But at the end of the day, it's about players.
Okay, what is their record?
Alabama's?
Yeah.
11-1.
It's the best coaching job Nick Saban has ever done.
There's no question.
Okay, would you all buy this? No quarterback in the history of football has ever improved more in a 4-week period than Jalen Milroe. How does that happen? That's got to be Saban.
That's been impressive, man. That's been impressive. After all the haters and all the speculation that they're done, the dynasty's done, to get this team to 11 wins. They beat LSU, they beat Ole Miss, they beat Auburn on the road. I think, though, that what Auburn did to them, they put a spy on Jalen Milroe and they kind of shut him down. I think Georgia's going to make them stay in the pocket and try to throw the football, beating them. And I don't think it's going to work.
I mean, imagine what Kirby Smart's going to be able to do with that defense and have them ready. I think it's going to be probably low scoring. But, George, we do have breaking news.
Oh, let's hit that.
Another transfer portal?
Yes.
Shocking.
Let me speculate. The entire UConn team hit the transfer portal.
I'll say Will Howard is coming to Vandy.
Nope.
Let's hear it.
Duke quarterback Riley Leonard has entered the portal, and Notre Dame.
Going to Texas A&M.
No, Notre Dame is a big target there. They're rumored to land Riley Leonard. So
Elko leaves, and he bolts.
Yeah, Duke is in trouble. Big trouble. Not that we didn't really expect that, but
I mean, it's Duke. Like,
yeah, I know.
Everybody's moved on to basketball.
But are they in a decent spot? Like, if they get a coach quickly, they've still got a little bit of time. I know they just lost their quarterback, but I mean, if they hire kind of quick, can they salvage anything or no? Are they?
Well, let me say this. I don't know what it is about that kid, but there is something really special about Riley
He's
Leonard.
a really good player.
That
He's a good
kid,
player.
Yeah, and there's an intangible to him that you don't see very often. I mean, think back to opening night when he beat Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We thought Clemson was up here. Now, they weren't at that level at that point.
No.
But Riley Leonard, man, I think there's something special about that kid. That's a huge loss.
So Notre Dame's going to get to rent another kid for a year.
Yeah, I wonder if
Clawson said.
Yeah, I wonder if Dave's going to be pissed about that, about Riley Leonard moving over to Notre Dame.
Let's go ahead and do, the
The old bet of the day thing?
Well, the old let's make you some money.
Let's do it. Bart Durham Injury Law brings you Plaster's Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham. Just repeated myself there, but give them a call, 615-242-9000, or log on to bartdurham.com. Let's check it out. Last night was a win with the Predators.
And let me say this. Until they lose, we're going to keep going
with them.
You're damn right we are.
Oh, I was thinking they played again tonight.
Well, because the whole thing is, while a team's on a streak, keep going until they give you a reason not to.
Keep going to the well.
Yeah. Okay. So here goes. I'm going out on a limb. Tennessee +3 at North Carolina. Now, to me, the great equalizer is Tennessee will get in your jock. They will flat out D up, and they will make life uncomfortable for North Carolina. If they don't, Carolina will win this and win it fairly convincingly. But if Tennessee plays the kind of defense that I saw against Purdue, they will make life very difficult for North Carolina. Vandy, I'm going to say it's Memorial Gym and nothing else.
Well, I think you might have to wait till SEC play to say Memorial Gym wins a game for Vandy. I don't know that they've had the best crowds, but who knows? It could be better tonight.
This is the biggest
game so far.
Biggest opponent that they have played at home.
They need to win tonight.
So I'm going Tennessee and Vandy. Kelly, let's get into all this psychoanalytic babble again tomorrow. That was good stuff.
Sounds good.
Oh, wait a minute. You're gone tomorrow.
I am going to be gone tomorrow, but I thought you were going to call me.
We will.
We'll figure it out.
Because I've still got to do my underdog picks, which kind of sucks. So it really doesn't matter.
My goodness.
Really doesn't matter.
We've got things
you want me to be honest.
Out.
Yeah.
Come on, this is for after the show.
Now my game is at 3. So that's 2 this time. So
3 in Chattanooga. What game do you do?
I've got the Middle Tennessee Christian Friendship Christian game tomorrow.
Okay.
And then Friday I have the East Nashville Alcoa. That's 11 o'clock game, and then the Knoxville West Page game at 7.
Who are you doing it with?
Chipper.
Chipper
Absolutely.
Walters, baby.
It's a middle broadcast booth for sure. Kelly, we'll talk soon.
See y'all.
Billy, when you lose your bet, pay up in cash.
I'll do that.
Don't go to that Venmo stuff, whatever it is. See you tomorrow.